What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Buckeye-Film-Breakdown. As always, I'm Jeremy. Opposite side of the screen, we got Coach Slate, and we would love to tell you that we are here to break down the Miami game on film, but the All 22 is still not available. So we are going to hop into a lot of random topics. There's been a lot going on. Obviously, the portal opened. We still don't have an offensive coordinator. Yeah, let's hop right into the wide receiver hire. Cortez Hankton, last stop was LSU. This guy's coached some dogs.
Yeah, he's coached some really good players, man. And if you follow him on Instagram, you can see the energy that he brings, him jumping up and down, doing the in between the legs celebration with his guys on the field. He brings a ton of experience. He played in the NFL, played in the CFL. He's just got a lot of experience that he's going to bring. And if you look at some of the guys that he's developed at LSU and Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas, and you go back to when he was with UGA and they had Pickens and Lad McConkey, and he just has some talent, man. And AD Mitchell is another guy who got drafted in the later rounds who's finding some success in the NFL. And Keyshawn Booty from the New England Patriots. So he's got a ton. He's got a track record of development, and I think the Buckeyes are in that weird space right now where it's great to get these 5 stars that Coach Hartline was getting in here consistently, but is that sustainable? And they're at this in this space where are we going to prioritize our money? And it cannot be in the receiver room all the time. And that is a tough spot to be in. You know what I mean? And it's a
Yep.
tough spot to be in. We're running a defense now where you have to have a stalwart at nose guard. You have to. And so like that's going to be a priority position from here on out. They see and now after this Miami game, we have to have edge rushers that can get to the quarterback on a consistent basis. So whether it's in the portal or on the trail, we've got to be able to prioritize those guys. And so maybe we need to change our philosophy and go get somebody who's going to develop those guys at receiver, the Brock Boyds, and you know what I mean, the lower rated guys. And so
Mm-hmm.
maybe Coach Hank is going to be the guy that does that. I think this was a good hire, despite what a lot of people say. They say Coach Patricia wasn't a good hire. I think this is a good hire, given his track record of development.
Well, I think a lot of people see LSU fans being happy that he's gone and take that as, oh my God, this is a terrible hire. I don't know that that's the case because, like you said, this dude's a developer. He's not won a lot of those 5-star recruiting battles, and I think that's why the LSU faithful have grown restless with him. Out of all those guys you talked about, the only recruitment that was his was George Pickens, and
Hmm.
that's still a big deal. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. I'm excited for it though, because honestly, we still don't have a reason to not trust Ryan Day when it comes to a hire for the most part.
Yeah.
The Parker Fleming thing, okay, we'll chalk that one up as an L. Um, but we'll see. That brings us to our next coaching issue though, is you still don't have anybody named offensive coordinator. Is it a massive issue right now? Not yet. You're 2 months away from spring ball, but with portal guys visiting, you would like to let them know who's going to be calling the shots on offense.
Yeah. You definitely want to be able to let them know. And what a interesting time and you brought this up in our group text where you can have unlimited coaches now and you can have unlimited on-field coaches, but you can only send 10 out to recruit. So that puts you in a spot where you can just hire an OC. You can just hire another coach and not really have to get rid of everybody or anybody. But that I just don't know if that is the direction that they're going to go, because now you're talking about additional money that has to be generated to pay, whatever coordinator that they want to bring in. So I just don't know if that's going to be the route that they go. It's just a unique spot to be in. Obviously, you want them to bring in somebody experienced because of the success we had with Coach Kelly. I am of the belief that Coach Day needs to be the CEO. I really believe so. I think he was finding his niche in that role when he can just let Coach Patricia go do his thing with the defense and Coach, Moorhead or whoever, whatever older coach that we could get potentially come in and do your thing on the offense. And then I could be the guy who is just overseeing everything. And so it's a tough spot to be in, man. And it's not a knock on any of the other coaches that we have on staff. I think Coach Key is going to be a great offensive coordinator one day, and maybe he is the guy that they say, you know what, we are going to call the plays. There are a ton of young offensive coordinators who get their shot at big schools and go on to be great coaches, i.e., Joe Brady at LSU. And look at the rise that he's had, and he's probably going to be an NFL head coach here soon. So there are a ton of opportunities for these young coaches, but I think they got to go with the experience route.
I do too. I think that in order for Ryan Day to truly go back to that CEO role, it has to be somebody he 100% trusts. And I don't know that he trusted Hartline this year. I think, he was still dabbling. I think if you go to Coach Key, I still think that he's not going to fully let the reins off. It's going to be like the last time that Hartline was the OC, and it was just a job title to get him more money, which is fine. That's how you keep guys. And I do think that whoever he brings in will be considered a co-OC with Coach Key. I think that there are going to be some more dominoes to fall. I don't know what, though. I think you're going to see, I would say, 1 to 2 guys on the offensive staff, go pursue other opportunities. I think Coach Day is probably also waiting for Black Monday in the NFL because I truly think that he wants somebody with NFL ties.
Yeah, and I understand that. I think that is a recruiting tool, obviously, but Coach Day wants to run an NFL style
Mm-hmm.
offense. And that is something that, I don't get paid that much money, so he can make those decisions. But I would like to see us, spread the ball out, play with a little bit more tempo, do those type of things. But at the same time, what he's done and what he's doing is working, right? We just won a national championship last year. We followed that up with a 12-0 season, regular season, and we got a first round bye in the playoffs. So the offense is still working when we do this pro style stuff. And so I do think he does want to go that NFL route. But if a Joe Moorhead, and I know that's a name that gets brought up consistently, it's
Yeah,
because those are the type of college coaches that we would potentially pursue. If he does say, "Hey, I am available," I firmly believe that Coach Day would jump all over that opportunity
absolutely.
to hire somebody like that. And so it'll be interesting to see after Black Monday and the NFL and what other college coaches may become available. We never thought we'd get Chip Kelly. And then look at what happened. We never thought we'd get Boston College's head coach. I'm drawing a
Bill
blank on
O'Brien.
his name. Yeah, Bill O'Brien. We never thought we'd get that guy, but we did. And we only had him for a week or two, but we never thought we'd get him. And so it could be some no name that we've never heard of in our entire lives. And so we will see how it all plays out. But I trust Coach Day, man. He's not given me a reason not to trust him. And
No,
so I firmly believe he will get the right guy in there.
yeah, absolutely. Um, I have my wish of who I want it to be. I don't know what's going to happen because the NFL jobs are going to be insane this year, I think. Um, and that will obviously be something we keep you guys in the loop on with the comings and goings and what we hear and that type of thing.
Well, go ahead and tell us who it is. Don't keep it a
I want
secret.
Brian Dable. I think that he fits everything. I think the players would embrace him like they do Matt Patricia.
Mm-hmm.
If he doesn't want to recruit, he doesn't have to in this structure. And he's somebody that would allow Ryan Day to truly be the CEO of the team again. And I think, like I said earlier, that is when Ryan Day is at his best, is when he's not tempted to dabble in the play calling. God love him. It's almost like, a toddler who you tell don't touch a pan because it's hot. He just can't resist touching the pan because
Yeah.
he's done it for so long.
Yeah.
But we saw it with Chip. It was pretty much Chip's show. There were times, you might see Ryan Day input, but you saw a lot of Chip tendencies in the things that Ohio State did when Chip was here.
Yeah. Yeah, and I agree with that. I think Coach Dable would be I think it would be a good fit. I think there are people at the college ranks as well that he would go after. He may kick the tires on what Coach Wilson is doing. Like we
Yeah.
just you just don't we just don't know. But I don't know who I would say is like the ideal fit. I personally would like to see, and I don't have a name, but I think I I don't know. I would like to see a younger coach. I really would bring in a new, fresh guy who does have some experience being OC, calling plays already, been doing it for a few years, had some success. Bring him in, give him the keys, and kind of give some life to the offense. Maybe something different. I would like to see that, but that's just me, man. But yeah, we'll probably go the NFL route, and heck, we might get Kevin Stefanski. I don't know. We'll see if he gets fired.
As long as it's not Tommy Rees, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
But somebody you just described to a T did just become unemployed in Clemson, South Carolina. Now, the Clemson offense has looked awful the last couple of years. But is that a Dabo effect or is it a Garrett Riley effect?
Yeah, man. I mean, Garrett Riley was the hottest name on the market when he got hired by Clemson, and Clay, you thought of pairing him with Cade Klubnik, and
Mhm.
the idea of having those guys come together and work, and then it just didn't end well this year. Clemson was just a mess, and
Yeah.
so I don't think that would be him, but Garrett Riley a few years ago, he was the hot name on the market, so it could be somebody like that. But I definitely think you're right. It's going to be an NFL guy, or somebody who's got just a ton of experience, and it is older, so Coach Day can just not worry about it.
There's a guy in Chicago. That's all I'll say. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know that he's ready though.
yeah,
Um, give him a couple more years, and then I think he could come home. Where's Smooth Jazz at? Is he still in Wisconsin?
yeah. I don't know. I think so. I think so.
I mean, there's all kinds of possibilities. Um, transfer portal season is upon us. As you guys saw in the opening drive the other day, it's been chaos already. The Buckeyes have had a decent number of guys go in, but I don't know. I've labeled two of them as surprises. Slate's got a third one. Um, we'll start with Slate's one that I don't necessarily agree with, and that's CJ Hicks. We really thought there was a world where he was going to come back, take that redshirt year this year, hone his craft as an edge, and come back next year ready to roll. And he still could. He may be out there seeing what's out there.
Yeah,
And there may not be a better fit for him than OSU. But I know this one kind of stings for you because you're a huge CJ Hicks fan.
big CJ Hicks fan, and the reason why it's a shock for me is because the time I spent at spring practice this past year and seeing him interact with Coach Patricia. That relationship, just to see the way that he gravitated towards Coach Patricia, just how he was eager to learn, the time he spent after practice, and just putting in the work. Like, you saw a guy who was just hungry to get out on the field, and then you hear that he was willing to take the red shirt so that he could develop, which not many people are willing to do that. And I was just like, okay, like, maybe this is something that him and Coach Patricia had talked about because of that relationship that they have. Maybe they're saying, maybe with CJ and another year of development for Bo Atkinson, and we get some guys in the portal and some of these young guys like Zion Grady. Now you're talking about having some veteran guys on top of some youth, and maybe getting Kenyatta back. And now we can really just cut CJ loose, man. And I just thought that was the direction we were going. But to see him go in the portal, it just sucks, man. I really wanted to work out. That guy wanted to be a Buckeye. Obviously, stuck around when he didn't have to. So that one stings for me just because I saw the relationship that he had with Coach Patricia in the spring. But I'll root for CJ no matter where he's at. And like you said, maybe he does come back. But I'll root for that guy no matter where he's at because he had opportunities to go elsewhere. We know that, and he stuck around and he bet on himself. And sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. And he unfortunately it didn't work out here. And hopefully he goes and gets a bag and goes and finds a ton of success and ends playing on Sunday somewhere because he's got all the traits, man. He's Bryant Browning for us, man. Like he could be that guy, you know what I mean? Or Baron Browning, sorry.
Aaron.
He could be Baron Browning. He could be that guy, like untapped potential.
Yeah.
He gets that opportunity in the NFL. Watch out, man. He could get out to the quarterback.
Yeah, and so then on Friday comes Bryce West. This one was kind of a surprise. We saw Bryce West get reps this year with guys getting hurt. You've seen Bryce West live and in person. We've seen what he can do. Kind of a surprise, but definitely it's not normal to see a Glenville guy
Yeah.
go into the portal. But who knows what the true story is. I believe when you couple Bryce West with the other name we're going to talk about in a second, I think it's a really good indication, though, that Jermaine Matthews Jr. is coming back.
Yeah, very well could be. I think Bryce West was in line to just be in that Lorenzo Styles role. And I think he was I mean, I know he was in the mix to be that starter. He battled some injuries. I think he had shoulder surgery at the end of his freshman season. Like
Mm-hmm.
he battled some things. And so I thought he was in line to be that Lorenzo Styles type. And I thought he could take it to another level. I mean, this is a kid who has just got all the physical tools. He can cover like a corner. He's got, the speed of Lorenzo. Everybody talks about Lorenzo as one of the fastest guys on the team. Like he's that very much that as well. He's not afraid of contact. He's got ball skills. I mean, he has the total package to be that hybrid nickel safety type. And I thought he could just flourish in that role for the next, 2 years before he goes off to the NFL. And so this one just, ugh, that sucks, man. I think he was in line to be the guy, but like you said, maybe Jermaine's coming back and maybe Jermaine's going to be that guy. Maybe Jermaine's
Right.
going to be the guy that's going to be in the inside, and we are going to go pursue because we've got some names that we are pursuing in the portal, that were being reported. So maybe Jermaine's going to be that interior guy we saw in the Miami game. Devin Sanchez comes in, Jermaine Matthews goes into the slot. We know Jermaine could play in the slot and do it very well. And so maybe